Meantime, the ongoing argument in Washington about what to do with people seeking to come into the United States along the southern border continues to create divisions both between and within political parties. 24-hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin is here now with the take on one of West Michigan's congressional delegation. Rick?
Yeah, Brian. You make a good point, and when I say a surrounding area, I don't mean to diminish it, but it seems odd to me as an observer that $300 million out of trillions of dollars of spending would be a target. But talk for just a minute about what that does. This is not unlike what they did in the Chesapeake watershed and what they've been doing for decades there in the Everglades and elsewhere, protecting waters that otherwise... My apologies. Lakeshore Congressman Bill Huizenga takes a considerably different approach than fellow Republican Fred Upton when it comes to the president's emergency declaration surrounding the border. Upton was one of a handful of Republicans to vote unsuccessfully to override the president's veto concerning the emergency order. Huizenga says presidents have been using the same basic authority for decades and thinks the president is operating within the same parameters. But Huizenga says it's time to change those rules.
Here was my conclusion after looking at what the power, constitutional power that Congress has given up over decades, not just to any president, but over decades. He has the legal right to do this. He is using monies that are designated within the Department of Defense for the vast majority of this and getting them reprogrammed. So he's not taking NASA money or transportation money. It is money that's appropriately geared. I don't particularly like that process, but that's where we're at. And now it's time for Congress to change the process.
Now, that process is likely to work its way all the way through the Supreme Court, whether Congress acts or not. The Congressman and I talked about many other things, including money for the Great Lakes and what the budget process might look like, health care and more. You can see that whole conversation this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock for this week's To the Point.